Excuse me! Taxi!
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And joining us now here on Cats and Cosby for the very latest, let's go to former Trump Deputy National Security Advisor, the one and only KT McFarland. KT, it's all over the place. The deal, and also right now, the NATO Secretary General's meeting with Trump. Seems like the future of NATO might be in question, too.
Look, President Trump is remaking the world. 2026 is going to be the year that America remade the world, that Donald Trump remade the world. And is he going to get an Iran deal? Look, it's not. There's going to be a lot of tips and turns and dodges and weaves. I think he gets it because Iran ultimately was in a position where they had no other choice. And Donald Trump methodically, carefully, sequentially, over the first term and the second term, put Iran in a position where it was isolated, bankrupt, no big power friends, out of missiles, out of proxies, and wasn't receiving any income of significance from its sale of oil. And President Trump, in the military sense, because in the last 6 weeks, destroyed their military infrastructure. They destroyed the command and control centers, the depots that had the missiles and the drones. They destroyed the senior leadership, the first tier of leadership in the military, clerical, civilian. They're gone. So when President Trump said early this morning, we're dealing with new leaders in a new regime, he's right. The old guys are dead. So the new guys are the second tier, and they have appeared to have a 2-week period where we're going to negotiate things. But when I looked at the list of their demands, our demands, I think it can be achieved. It's going to be a lot of back and forth, but I think that the main things President Trump wanted to get out of this was no nuclear weapons for Iran, no missiles for Iran that could carry nuclear weapons and reach the United States, and no highly enriched uranium. And I think those seem to be things that Iran has already agreed to. Now, there's a little fudging around about the highly enriched uranium, but in any event, the main stuff, we've got the main stuff done.
KT, there's a lot of confusion. Israel is continuing. What else is new? Israel is continuing to bomb and doing what they're doing in Lebanon, and Lebanon is shooting back, and even Iran seems that they might be shooting back. Nobody's really sure if it's exactly Iran shooting back, and I guess what President Trump really meant when we have peace for Iran, it should be Iran and its surrogates. How do you understand it to let the American people be able to understand it a little bit better? And I know there's no perfect world.
Right, there's no perfect world. And are all of the proxies, and that would be Hezbollah and Hamas, those are Iran's proxies, would they be included in the deal? President Trump certainly presented it as if it was, and maybe Iran is doing something different. But again, I don't think these are insurmountable issues. If the Israelis are lobbying bombs and missiles at Hezbollah, and Hezbollah is lobbying them at Israel, I think it gets there. The thing that worries me the most, though, is the saboteurs. So it's the leadership of Iran, and who knows who those leaders are right now. Is President Trump been negotiating with the civilian leaders, the parliamentary leaders, and that seems to be who he's done the deal with. But are there some in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the military? Are they all on board with this? Because they have a decentralized decision-making process in the IRGC. About 2 years ago, they let the 31 regional authorities be responsible for their own release of weapons. So you could well have some disgruntled, I want to go down with the ship, Iranian leader in some remote part of Iran saying, I'm not going to go along with this deal. I want to fire missiles off because I want to fire missiles off. I don't believe that we should have a peace agreement. So I think that there'll be a rocky period for a few days until everybody figures that out. But at the end of the day, the great thing about Donald Trump is the tweet that he did yesterday, and we all talked about this, where he said, I'm going to destroy the Iranian civilization. Well, the media went nuts. The Europeans went nuts.
The Europeans went nuts. The Brits went nuts. The French went nuts. And the Brits called me up. I mean, who, other than being President Trump's friend, who am I? I mean, I have zero official capacity. And they said, what is going on? You know, I said, I said to them, because they're personal friends in Britain and they run a lot of important things in Britain, I said, I guess maybe the president is playing poker. I don't know.
It's the art of the deal. So what he did when I read it, because he also in that same tweet, he said, but we love the Iranian people. There's a future prospects of peace and prosperity. But if the Iranian regime doesn't agree to our terms, they were going to end their civilization. So to me, what President Trump was saying was, I'm going to end the regime. But it was so ambiguous that then all the Europeans, like you said, and the Democrats and the media, I was arguing with one panelist who said, well, Donald Trump is going to launch nuclear weapons against Iran tonight at 8 o'clock, and he's going to kill 93 million people. I thought, wow, you guys really don't get it. You take the bait every time. Every time President Trump goes into a negotiation, he goes with a huge, impossible first opening position. He knows he's not going to get that. And then he goes back and forth, and he whittles it down, and ultimately he gets the position he wants.
But it got him to the table, Katie. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like today, they're all going crazy about the rhetoric. The results speak for themselves. At least they're talking, right? They stepped up. At least they're starting the dialogue.
They were terrified. And I think in a weird way, all the people who hate Trump so much that they said, oh, he's going to nuke Iran, I think when they got hysterical, the Iranian regime, who was already pretty nervous about what President Trump could do, if they're looking at American media, which they do, they monitor it very closely, and they said, oh, maybe he is going to do this. Maybe we better do a deal. So I think everybody took the bait and they got spooked, and Donald Trump got him to the negotiating table. Now, again, there's a lot of stuff that could go wrong between now and a final agreement, but I think we're well on the way.
Well, KT, thank you so much, and God bless you. And let's pray for common sense solutions, and we'll talk again real soon.
Thank
KT.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.